My name is Danny Koker. Everybody, nickname-wise, I have been referred to as the Count for years. I will get to that later in my long drawn-out speech when you guys start throwing stuff at me. Let's see. First off, I just want to say thank you very much to Federal Mogul, our gracious host, for having me here today. I really appreciate that. It's great to be here, and it's great to be a part of something as exciting as what's going on with Federal Mogul right now. So thank you to Dan, thank you to Laura, thank you to everybody that brought me out. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. You guys probably know me from a crazy TV show called Counting Cars on History. We are in our 5th season right now on History, and we are extremely fortunate and extremely blessed. And I like to refer to myself as the luckiest guy in the world for everything that is going on with my shop, with the show, with the company, with everybody that I work with. And I'll get a little bit more into that as well. But I think I just kind of want to start from the beginning and kind of give you guys a little bit about myself. Who is Danny Koker? What makes this guy what he is? And I'm not sure exactly what that is. Besides a very fortunate guy. What you're seeing is a fortunate, blessed man right here. I come by it honest. I grew up in a family that surrounded each other and myself with several common denominators in my life. Love, of course, being a very important one. Motorcycles, cars, music, television, women. It's a very important thing. Very important thing. Hey, we were just discussing women in important places in company. And I tell you what, you want to see something get done, put a woman in charge. I'm just saying, it gets done. It gets done. They're like a pit bull, man. They got that thing in their jaw where they can lock on and they don't let go until it's handled. So, always women in charge. I'm very thankful for the schooling that I had growing up as a kid. I was born just south of Cleveland, and I was raised in Cleveland and Detroit, were the 2 cities I grew up in. The schools that I went to at the time had great programs, automotive programs, workshop programs, metal shop programs, things like that, that you could take. Tragically, we're losing a lot of that in today's school systems, and I really mean that when I say it's tragic. It's something that I really support huge. So to see Federal Mogul going back and doing the early days stuff, doing the Garage Gurus, man, this is a great program, Garage Gurus, that you guys have got going on. And again, I'll bug you on that a little bit later too. So. Anyways, grew up with the cars, the bikes, the music, the family, the whole bit. My father, musician, entertainer, but spent a little bit of time working at Ford Motor Company in Detroit. My uncle was an executive with Ford Motor Company, and growing up as a kid, going over to Uncle Peter's house was always a blast because he had all the toys. He had all the scooters, he had all the hot rods, and even though he was an exec with Ford Motor Company, he wasn't a guy that was specifically about Ford. When you went to his house, there was everything there. I mean, he had every kind of hot rod and muscle car. So as a kid growing up, going to Uncle Peter's house in Detroit was always a party as far as I was concerned. And we had a lot of toys to play with, which was, it gets you addicted at a young age. My father got me my first motorcycle when I was 8 years old, and spent a lot of time hurting myself on that at a young age, because it was a street bike, which was crazy. An 8-year-old kid with a street bike, but that's okay. It was a blast. But I learned a lot about bikes because I had to fix it myself every time I crashed it. So that was an education right there.
He's saying
we have a blue Hyundai in the parking lot. License number. So yeah, got my first bike at 8 years old, and I've been addicted ever since. I still ride on a regular basis. I love motorcycles. To me, Motorcycles are one of the greatest things in the world, and I ride all the time. I've got lots of customers that have come to me over the years, buying custom motorcycles from me, getting their bikes customized from me. A lot of first-time buyers. How many motorcycles we got? Motorcycle riders we got in the house? We got bike riders in the house. We got bikers in the house. Get some bikers in the house. All right, cool. Then you know, and this is what I tell everybody all the time. Whenever somebody comes to me wanting a bike for the first time, if you're a first timer, I always tell them it's not when, it's not if, it's how bad and when. You know what I'm saying? So I always give a fair warning, and I've spent my fair share of time at the hospital for motorcycles, but it's something that's in your soul, and you run with it. And my soul loves motorcycles, so I'm very much addicted to that. But my father brought home, when I was 9 years old, a 1966 Mustang GT. And as a 9-year-old kid, in the garage at nighttime when everybody would go to bed and I would still be awake, and would sneak downstairs and go through this gorgeous white 66 GT Mustang, that was a real kind of a changing point in my life. That car spoke to me. That car spoke to me. I still have that car to this day. That car's been in the family for 40 some odd years now, and I still have it from my office at the shop. I can look out and I can see her sitting out there, and she's been a major influence on my entire life. That car really got me going. Was again, my father, a huge influence. Taught me how to drive at a very young age. I lived in a rural area at one point, so I was driving a '68 Cadillac Sedan DeVille to school every day when I was 13 years old, and the only rule was Dad said don't get pulled over and don't park where anybody can see you. So I'm like, okay. So I really pay a lot of respect to what my father instilled in me at a young age, and he introduced me to motorcycles, introduced me to cars, introduced me to music, introduced me to treating people right, to treating people fairly, to the old school, kind of the old school way of doing things. I don't know if you want to call it morals. I don't know if you want to call it scruples. However you want to define it. But he instilled in me things that I carry to this day, that I say help lead me to where I'm at, help me down the path that I'm at right now. Not the easiest path. The honest path is, in my opinion, never the easiest path. It's never the quickest path. But to me, it's the most stable path. It's the most righteous path. It's the path that I feel that you're going to get the most blessed on by treating people right. I fear I'm going to get preachy, so I don't want to do that. But it just trust me, man. Treating people right, it comes back around. So I was just talking to Dan a little bit earlier, matter of fact, before we came out here, and talked about equipment. Any shop with any kind of backing can buy equipment. They can buy the gear, they can buy the tools, they can buy the facility, they can buy all this kind of stuff. The difference is the people. That's what makes, to me, that's what makes the big difference. I've got a magnificent team in Las Vegas. My team is unbelievable. Before the television show, Counts Customs, by the way, is a real thing. You'll see other shows on television that I won't pick on and I won't talk about, but that's what they are. They're television shows. They're made up for TV. They're shot in a studio. Look them up on the internet and try to find the history of their shop. There isn't any. You look up Counts Customs. Counts Customs has been around for close to 20 years now. We're probably 18 and a half to 19 years old, and it's been quite an amazing journey. Before the television show, there were 9 of us. What TV can do to you is insane. There's now 48 of us that work at Counts Customs, and it's still like a giant family. When there were 9 of us, it was a small family. Now there's 48 of us. It's a big family. The people make the difference. That's where it's at. I love the fact that Federal Mogul, Garage Gurus, is getting in the trenches with the people. The training of the techs, the vans that can go out for the training, the apps on your phones. I mean, that's